Maya is first tonight.
Every morning, I wash my face with sparkling water.
Oh, right. David's team.
What brand of sparkling water?
To be honest, I don't actually have a brand. I have the machine at home, the bubbler machine. So you just
like a soda stream.
Soda streamers.
Right. So do you have this machine in the bathroom?
No, my routine is I wake up, put my little under-eye masks on, go down to the kitchen, bubble my water, come up, wash my face, and then get in the shower.
That's exactly the same as Rob's routine.
Well, I do bubble my water, but I think it means something else.
Why? Why do you do that?
Why do I do it? Well...
What's the point in having fizzy water on your face?
I read once that if you use fizzy, bubbly, sparkly water on your face, it opens up the pores for whatever cleanser or face wash you're going to use, gets in there as really good like that.
We have a medical man, and I don't mean Lee. We've got Zand here. Is there any truth? I've never heard that. Is there truth in that?
It's interesting, Rob. At medical school, there is no lecture on preparing your face for cosmetics with spark. It's like not a thing.
All right, smart Alec. I was elevating you with that question, but if you want to have combat with me for the rest of the night, you are very welcome to it, my friend.
That's quite a complex skin routine. Are you taking the fizzy water away with you? My, travels for work a lot.
Yes.
You travel for work a lot.
What do you do when you're travelling for work?
In every hotel minibar, there is a fizzy water.
She's got us.
So you go to a machine. What do you put the water in to bring it to the sink?
Just like a bottle of water, empty bottle of water or a big mug. Just do a couple scoops.
You see, I would worry that my pores might be different, but I would worry that my pores, the sort of acridness of the fizz, would make my pores close up in fear.
That did sound like the start of a really bad advert that you were doing for skin cream. The acidness of the fizz makes me fearful, but now with oil of Ulay...
Right, what are you thinking? Is Maya telling the truth, or is it a lie?
My bit is the details, is the bringing the water. She said a bottle or a mug. A mug is that much water. That's not doing a face. And then you put the stuff on.
No, but it's just whatever's next to the sink. You know, sometimes you might have an empty
Evian. If you're doing it every day, you'd have a set system. But
it's exactly. It's a very fastidious process that you're undergoing. But the idea that, I don't know, that had a lasagna in it yesterday. Fine, I'll use that.
So what are you going to say?
Instinctively, I think it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie?
We're going to go lie.
OK. Maya, truth or lie?
It is... a lie!
Yes, it's a lie. Maya doesn't wash her face in sparkling water. So please welcome this week's special guest, Martin. So, Zand, what is Martin to you?
This is Martin, and when I accidentally shaved off a chunk of my beard, he lent me some of his.
Maya, how do you know Martin?
OK, so this is Martin, and he once exercised my car because I thought it was haunted.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Martin.
This is Martin. He freed me after I got my fingers stuck in a bowling ball.
So there we have it. David, where do you want to begin?
Zand, so he lent you a section of his beard?
Yes, so I had shaved off that side of my beard by mistake, and I needed...
How did you do that?
You put the teeth on the beard trimmer so that and you have to adjust it.
Yes.
And I didn't put the teeth on and shaved my cheek twice. Zup, zup, cleared the cheek. Then I needed replacement beard hair.
And where does this chap come in?
I was filming a television programme the next day, and the problem was that we'd already filmed some of it, and so I had to keep the beard, and I also have it in my contract that I always have to have a beard because I have an identical twin brother, and without the beard I look like him, and then I can't.
I don't think that would be a problem because you still had some of the beard. I think you'd still be distinguishable from unless he had madly grown a partial beard.
OK, so how do you come into contact with someone? Is this a service that someone provides whereby if you misshave, he'll help you out?
No.
Do you regret your Brazilian?
Well, with the help of this man's hairy face...
So, Martin is a sound person or an acoustic engineer on the TV show that I was working on, and he kindly trimmed off a bit of his beard and allowed me to glue it to my face.
So how many days did you have to film? Because presumably you'd have to remove this hair at the end of the day. You can't go to bed with that, can you?
So at the end of the day, Martin gave me an envelope of his beard trimmings.
Oh,
he trimmed
get
it off.
away.
I carried the envelope. I had to film for the rest of the weekend, in fact, into the next week. And so for about 5 or 6 days, I was gluing. I had some eyelash glue, and I was gluing.
Because he gave you an envelope of his hair.
So he gave you a couple of clumps on that first day, and at the end of the day, he said, well, there you go, that'll see you through until the middle of next week.
So, and he must have lost a fair bit of his, then.
It's a mighty beard.
It's a dense beard, I will say that.
His beard does look like a feeder beard, like it's designed just to feed other beards.
Yes. It's like...
Wholesaler beard.
Right, who would you like to quiz next?
Maya, this car.
Yeah.
What model of car was it?
Mercedes 500.
And what made you think it needed exorcising?
OK, well, I have quite a spiritual nan, spiritual Swedish nan, and I was telling her that it's always quite cold. There's 2 seats in the car. It's always quite cold. It feels like there's wind coming in, even when all the windows and there's no holes in it or anything like that. And sometimes when I go into my car park, which is underground, I have felt like someone touched me a couple of times, just on the shoulder or, like, there. And so I told her about it, and she was like, I know this guy Martin.
And it's probably him.
She said, you should have a little chat with Martin. He does this kind of thing. He goes and he'll get rid of the bad spirits and stuff like that. And if it is your new car, then it's best that you get it sorted out, you know?
I got to say, you did say, so your nan's Swedish?
Yeah.
Martin does look strikingly Scandinavian.
He does, actually, doesn't he? You can imagine him on a hardwood floor.
What are you doing on this hardwood floor, Rob?
Being Swedish. Yeah, maybe it's a hardwood floor for a while. With high-quality hi-fi, nice speakers. So, your nan said that he does this sort of thing. What does she mean by that?
Well, he's a medium. That's what these sort of people do.
Well, a medium is not the same as an exorcist.
Well, I was going to say, medium isn't the same as an extra large.
No, I don't know.
To be clear, he's not a priest.
No, he doesn't...
That's your classic person who can do exorcism, is a priest.
I don't think they do cars, though. I mean, I know things have gone bad for the church, but...
Exorcism is quite a loose term here, because I know there are a lot of people that they clear energy.
Yeah, like they read your cards and they say, oh, there's someone in the room and that kind of stuff.
So he's more of a general...
Charlatan.
He's a ghost.
If it's true, I'm going to get killed, but it's not true because he got my finger stuck in a bowling ball and helped her out. If it was true.
So, Maya, talk us through what he did for you.
So I'm going to be honest, I wasn't in the car. It's a 2-seater. He got in the car. I stayed a little bit away.
So there wasn't room for you and him and the ghost.
Of course not. And then, basically, I watched from a distance. He was shouting for a little while. And then he did vibrate a little bit. And then that was about it.
So like this?
So you were a bit further away, so did you see him just...
I just saw a shaking
you're just seeing
bearded
a man
man.
in your car.
What was
Could you see his hand when he was vibrating?
Yes, that's important.
I can't remember. His hands were on show.
All right. His hands were on show, as far as we know. And how did he finish? No, Roman, Kent! What would your listeners think?
No, how did it end? He came out of the car, and then he said, well, I've done what I can. I've had a word.
Done what I can.
She does so well, and then she gets to the end, and she's like, then he just got out and said, see you later, bye, there you go. It's almost the last bit, and you just drop the ball.
I'm having a laugh. I'm playing along. But he did. He said he basically had finished what he needed to do. He'd come to the end of the exorcism.
So did he give you any feedback about what he'd cleared?
Well, he did. He looked at me and he said, like that. No, he acknowledged the fact that there was, in fact, something in there.
So he didn't say you've wasted your money hiring me. That needed doing.
He confirmed.
That was a big one in there.
Yeah. OK, so what exactly did Martin say that he found?
Well, he wasn't that clear, I'll be honest. He just said it was a spirit. I think there's levels to this ghost talking stuff. Like, it
spirit levels.
How far in...
OK. Now, what about Lee? Remind us, Lee, of your claim.
This is Martin, and he once helped me when I got my fingers stuck in a bowling ball.
Oh. So when was this?
This was about a year ago.
And who are you bowling with? Family trip?
It was my son's birthday.
Oh.
What was Martin's job at the bowling alley?
He didn't have a job at the bowling alley. He was in the lane next to me.
Yeah. Which finger got stuck?
It was those two fingers got stuck.
They both got stuck.
I know.
Wow. And above the knuckle, did you
tonight, darling.
Did you plunge them in?
So I went into the ball.
Like that.
I'm thinking, hello. And then I'm thinking, it's the something... I've picked up the wrong ball. Picked up a 12 kilogram, not a 14. I've only gone and put my fingers in all that's too small. My fingers are stuck. Oh, well. Give me something to talk about on the show.
So how did he get him out? How did he get him out?
He said, are you all right, mate? And I said, I've actually got my fingers stuck in the ball. And he said, well, can I help you? I said, I don't know. Are you qualified? And he said, no, I've never done anything like this in my life. I said, well, neither have I. That's two of us.
This is sounding quite romantic now.
Yeah, so I touched his face gently, but knocked him out.
Yeah. Then later he came round.
Yes. Yes. I said, how did you get my address?
Yeah.
He said, can I help you? I said, you tell me. So he said, all right, let's see if we can pull it off. So he held on. The children held my arm as he pulled. Right. And it didn't work. So he said, why don't I go to the kitchen and get something to use as a sort of lubricant?
OK.
And he came back with quite a large tub of butter.
When he's gently lubing your fingers up...
Yeah.
And there's a man you've never met before and your wife's off and it's just you and him... What were you talking about?
Oh, you know, we were chewing the fat. And he said, don't, we'll need that.
Is that what did it?
Eventually, the lubrication and the excessive pulling and a little bit more pulling from the opposite direction from my wife and the kids at the party resulted in and out it came.
All right, so we need an answer. So David's team, is Martin Zahn's bearded buddy, Maya's car cleanser, or Lee's finger freer?
I think I'm sceptical about Lee's story, but the problem is that the other two stories are, one is that he exorcised a car, and the other is that he lent some beard hair.
It's definitely Zander.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fine. We're fine.
So you're willing to accept that this man took clippings from his own beard, put them into an envelope, gave them to Zand, and he then stuck them onto his face.
Rob, if you were to take trimmings of your beard, what exactly... And you had to give them to someone, what exactly are you meant to be putting them in anyway?
Tupperware.
What did you say you worked in? You worked in the audio department?
He could work in the audio department, but also he could be a Scandinavian exorcist, I suppose. I haven't seen many Scandinavian
Could work in a bowling alley.
No.
He didn't work in a bowling alley, did he? He just has to be there.
No, hang on, he didn't work. That's why I was getting confused, because he was temping.
Maya, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
I believe in ghosts.
Do you? Why do you believe in ghosts?
Why not?
Well, because they patently don't exist.
You're not going to logic bomb me.
OK, if there's so many ghosts, well, if ghosts exist, why are they always in isolated places rather than absolutely cramming central London?
I don't believe...
People have been living and dying in misery in central London for 2,000 years in that square mile. You shouldn't be able to move for ghouls. And yet you don't see them there in the modern office blocks, or with the plague, or being eaten by a lion in Roman times, or having their head chopped off for no reason. Oh, no, it's in one pub where a total of 2,000 people have lived ever. That's where the ghosts hang out. It doesn't make any sense.
So what are you going to say, David?
OK.
What are you going to say?
It's 100% Zander.
Right, well, are we happy to go with that?
I think so,
yeah. We're going to go with that.
Saying it's Zand. OK.
Yeah.
Martin, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Martin, and I lent Zander my beard.
Yes, Martin is Zand's bearded buddy. Thank you very much, Martin. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest. It's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Neil. So, Laura, what is Neil to you?
This is Neil, and he's the health and safety officer who I mistakenly pushed in the pool at the Love Island wrap party.
Right, Laura's wet workmate. Chris, how do you know Neil?
This is Neil, and I was once forced to stay at his house because I'd handed my own keys in to a lost property office.
Chris's sleepover saviour. And finally, David, tell us about your relationship with Neil.
David, look at him. You have never met that man in your life.
On the contrary, this is Neil, and I once sat on his shoulders to get a better look at a fat chaffinch.
So, there we have it. Lee, where do you want to start?
Laura,
Yes,
when was this?
back in February, Cape Town.
Why is there a health and safety guy, particularly on Love Island? Was he giving out condoms?
Believe me, you need health and safety on Love Island.
OK.
But I actually had never met Neil before. I thought he was someone else.
Who did you think he was?
I thought he was Cliff.
Who's Cliff?
Cliff was my driver.
Oh, you deliberately pushed Cliff?
Yeah.
But it's not Cliff,
No.
it's Neil.
Yeah, well, Cliff is a big guy and he's got tattoos.
Oh?
And he was wearing all black because everyone was wearing, like, black T-shirts and stuff if they were a crew.
Yes.
And over the course of 6 weeks, we're pranking each other. As you do. So, like, one day he gave me, like...
Chlamydia?
That's a hell of a prank.
Silly things like put chili in your coffee and stuff.
Oh, so this is your driver, Cliff?
Yeah, but, like, he becomes your pal because when you're over there, you don't know many people.
So you see who you think is Cliff.
Well, Cliff is a tall guy with tattoos.
Yeah, and you think, I want to see Cliff.
And he was at the very edge. He was talking to one of the girls. So I
Yes.
thought it'd be quite funny to...
So how does Neil react?
Well, he was quite wet, so I didn't really see him. I just saw when I turned around, on the other side of the pool, I saw Cliff.
Oh.
Did he take it well, or was he... I mean, he looks like he's still in a bit of a mood with you.
I don't remember there being laughing.
So it was a bit tense?
It was a bit tense, yeah.
And this is the first time you've seen him since?
I wrote him an email. I can't even remember what it said, but it was very brief. And it's actually quite awkward now.
How much of Love Island have you watched, David? I mean, is it... I'm so sorry, what?
I haven't seen that much of it. But
No, how much of it have you
It's an
seen?
embarrassing question to answer in the context of one of the programme makers, isn't it,
Well,
Rob?
I mean,
And I
look-
think on some level you know that.
All right, well, that's Laura. Who would you like to quiz next?
OK, Chris. Sorry, could you remind us again, Chris?
This is Neil, and I was once forced to stay at his house because I'd handed my own keys into a lost property office.
Whereabouts is the house?
I live in the leafy royal borough of Kingston upon Thames.
OK.
So which lost property office did you hand the keys to?
The Roundhouse music venue in London.
So where did you find these keys?
Well, they were my keys.
So they were in your pocket?
Yes. We'd been to the concert.
Who were you seeing? Who were you watching?
The late, great Chris Cornell, who's sadly no longer with us.
Ah, yes. Are you familiar with his work, David?
Nope.
Do you know his work with Savage Garden?
Now you've said some
Savage
other
Garden?
words in an order.
What are they called?
Soundgarden.
What?
Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with his work?
Soundgarden!
Oh, that is just brilliant. It's like watching two people on Last of the Summer Wine debating grime.
Chris,
So-
who had you gone to the gig with?
So I went to the gig with Neil. Neil's a friend of mine.
How do you know Neil?
From childhood.
Oh, so is he from Liverpool as well?
Yeah.
Does he live in Kingston?
Yes.
So coincidentally, two friends from Liverpool grew up together, now live near each other, miles away in Kingston.
Well, I wouldn't say coincidentally. I mean, we moved to the same place as each other.
OK. So, talk us through the key mix-up incident.
So I pulled out a tissue out of my pocket and I heard a set of keys land on the floor. And I thought, oh, hello, someone's dropped some keys there. I picked the keys up and I didn't recognise them as my own keys.
Why? What do your keys have on them? Like a...
Well, what had happened is I'd put a new keyring on them earlier that day and I just didn't recognise them instantly.
The new key... What was the new keyring?
It was a heavy-duty Harley-Davidson.
A whole-size bike?
So I held them up in the air and shouted, has anybody lost any keys? And nobody answered.
How come you didn't check yourself first and
Because I didn't recognise them as my keys.
But did you not think to check your pockets to see if you had your keys on you?
Well, would you check your pockets for your keys if you found keys that you didn't think were yours?
But I would have thought the first thing to do is have a feel to see if your keys are in your pocket.
If you owned a red phone and you found a blue phone on the floor, would you check your pocket to see if you still had your red phone?
That's a fair point.
So nobody claimed ownership of them, and so I asked Neil, can you go and hand these in at the lost property, because somebody's dropped them.
Yeah. Right.
And then I went home.
Right.
So I get dropped off, and then I'm having a rummage, and I'm like, I don't know where my keys are. I've lost my keys. That's a bit funny, isn't it? On the same day that I found somebody else... I see what's happened here. And then I had to phone Neil and ask him to come back and get me.
What colour was the phone? It's a lovely image, isn't it? Those two up north in Liverpool going, one day I'm gonna move away to London. And the other one going, can I come? Of course you can, Neil. You can look after the keys and I'll buy us a lovely big house.
All right. What about David?
You sat on his shoulders.
Yeah, remind us of this claim.
Yes, I once sat on his shoulders to get a better view of a fat chaffinch.
Is there a breed called the fat chaffinch?
No, this was a rotund example of the common or garden chaffinch.
What did you have to
It was sort
look
of
over?
up in a tree, and Neil was keen for me to get a good look at it.
Why?
Because I'd expressed an interest in birds. He said there was a lovely, interesting, quite fat chaffinch in this tree. And I sort of went, oh, yes, I can... Yeah. But Neil felt I could get a better look at it, and he was right. I didn't get a perfect view. I had a sort of sense of a bit of wingtip coming over the side of the... I can see it now.
Neil is literally stood there going, thank God I don't really know this man.
I sort of climbed up, there was a bit of a gate there.
Right.
And I climbed up a bit.
Can I just interrupt you a second, David? Let's just get to the nub of the issue. How the hell do you know him?
Because I was staying with my family in a holiday cottage in Cornwall, let's say. Yes, Cornwall. And he lived in a nearby cottage. And one morning... It was a lovely...
One morning he said, hello, young David, who I've never met before. Have you ever seen a chaffinch?
Yeah.
How old were you?
It was last year, so I was...
Last year you got on his shoulders? I just assumed it was from your childhood.
I mean, no. This is current me, and what I am asking you to believe is that Neil is strong enough to bear the weight of me for a few brief moments while I enjoy the miracle of nature.
But why is he there?
Well, he lives near there, and he happened to be there.
Just happened to be in the garden?
I don't know.
Was he in the garden?
He happened to be there. For all I know, he'd been waiting there all night.
Right.
So I assumed we'd just encountered each other.
Is this in the back garden?
No, a little gravelly area outside both cottages.
Yeah.
Casual chat.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here.
Yeah.
And he says there's an interesting fat chaffinch.
Let's not forget, you said you were on gravel, so if this went wrong... It would, as somebody who has fallen from a height, gravel's not what you want. You want a flower bed.
I wasn't in a position to ask for the ground to be relaid.
How did you get on? I don't mean, we went out for tea and coffee. How did you get on his shoulders?
Up the gate.
Oh, you said you got on the gate, stepped on his shoulder. How long were you up there for?
No more than an hour.
An hour?
For the bird watchers, paint a picture of the chaffinch.
It's sort of pinky front.
Pinky front.
A browny back.
Browny back.
And, you know, beak and eyes.
So evocative.
Back to you in the Springwatch studio.
All right, we need an answer. So, is Neil Laura's wet workmate, Chris's sleepover saviour, or David's bird-watching buddy?
I have to say, first impressions are that Neil and Chris look about the same age. But the bit that I'm doubting is he heard the keys drop and he's just taken something out of his pocket.
I mean, if you drop keys, you know you've dropped keys, surely.
There were literally thousands of people coming out of this building creating noise and mayhem.
There's a lot of Savage Garden
There's a lot of
fans.
stuff going on.
Go, what do you think?
I think Laura's telling the truth.
You think Laura's telling the truth? Yeah. Why?
The tension was there.
You think there's a tension?
Yeah, there was an awkwardness.
OK, well, go with my team and say Laura.
You think it's Laura? Neil, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Neil, and Chris had to stay at mine after handing his little keys into lost property.
Yes, Neil is Chris's sleepover saviour. Thank you very much, Neil.
I once thought a slug was trying to send me a message.
Please, team.
Hang on.
Like a snail, slug, a snail.
Like a homeless snail.
Snail without a shell.
What do you call them in South Africa? They're like so big.
A shellless snail.
A shellless snail?
Yeah.
Are you winding me up? Because if I go to South Africa and say that, if I go, hey, look, there's one of those shellless snails, they go, I think it's called a slug.
What was the message?
So I just thought slugs were like a bad aura. I come home one night and there was just a slug in the middle of my living room and I didn't know how he got there.
Is it carpeted, your living room?
Yeah, it's carpeted, but I've never seen a slug before in my house. And I come home after a few hours and he was just sitting in the middle of the living room.
But why did you think he was trying to keep...
When you say sitting...
Honestly, he was looking at me.
What was the message he was trying to give you?
The message?
You said he was trying to give you a message?
Yeah, because I sort of Googled it.
Right.
What does it say?
And what did it say?
And it just said, well, certain things said, you know, it's like a bad aura.
The slug had a Google page.
No. There's a lot of things on Google.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
I've had Google all printed out and I'm working my way through it.
When you say it was a bad aura, do you mean aura or do you mean omen?
Well, bad omen.
Omen 3 with a bad omen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But 1 and 2 were pretty good.
What did you... Because, like, if you just Googled slugs...
Yeah.
It's not going to come up there, bad omen. So what did you Google?
I literally typed in, slug in my living room, what does it mean?
As opposed to the other one, there's a rat in my kitchen, what am I going to do?
Listen, I was on my own, I was scared, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And you thought, you didn't want to run, because he might chase you.
Why was that your first question, though? Because,
it is an unusual question, yeah.
You didn't know what to do. Yeah, there's a slug in my living room, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But your first thought is, what does this mean?
Yeah, what does this mean?
You mentioned, Daniel, you said, I think I'm right in saying, you said the slug was looking you in the eye.
Yeah. Yeah. As I walked through the little hallway,
yes,
he was directly opposite me.
Hang on. Do slugs have eyes?
No, slugs have that as well.
Oh, they do have that.
Yeah.
They're the eyes, aren't they?
I think
so those bits were looking at you.
Yeah.
How do you know that? I mean, did they literally, were they doing that and you walked in and they went...
Good evening.
Do you have any other superstitions other than the slug?
Anything like walking under a ladder, walking over 3 drains. I won't
3
do that.
drains?
You know, the 3 drains?
Yeah, I heard that one.
That's
3
right.
drains.
Well, apparently, like, if you walk over 3 drains, someone's meant to touch you and you're meant to spit, but that's minging.
What?
How long are you allowed... I mean, at some point, if you walk over 1 drain and then another drain,
yeah,
when does it reset?
3 drains in a row.
3 in a row, so it's just got to be drain, drain, drain.
Yeah, so it's a drain,
drain, cup of tea, drain,
no,
you're
no.
back to... Oh, great.
All right, well, I mean, it's serious stuff.
Yeah. Was it raining and you had a window open?
No.
So how did it get in?
It was on a
I don't know how it got in, that's what I mean. What does it mean?
OK, let's not go round again. team, is she telling the truth?
I don't know.
You think it could be true?
Yeah, but don't listen to me. But I think it.
I think it's true.
You think it's true?
I'm saying true.
I genuinely don't care if it's true or a lie. She's won me over, and I wonder what did it mean.
So, Lee, what are you going to say?
Go on, I'll go with my team and say it's true.
Say it's true. OK. Dani, the slug in the living room, was it the truth or was it a lie?
It was the truth.
Yes, it's true. Dani did think a slug was trying to send her a message.